If you're a woman that's doing absolutely everything right, you're eating healthily, you're going to the gym and working out, and you're playing by all the rules that you need to be able to tone up and lose body fat, but yet despite all this and despite your effort that you're putting in, you're not seeing the results that you expected. And now you're left wondering, is it my metabolism that's damaged? Am I always destined to stay this way? Is this just my body type? And do I have to accept that I'm gonna look like this for the rest of my life? Because if that's exactly where you are right now, then I've got 8 tiny habits that are gonna make things seem so much easier and gonna get you moving in the right direction. And if you don't know who I am Lewis, the owner of the Lemon Frog Fitness Company, which is this gym that you can see now that I'm sat in. I've been helping women for over a decade now in this private facility, helping them feel confident in their bodies, lose body fat despite never being able to before, and building a nicely defined and shaped body, something that they would have dreamed of in the past. And these 8 habits are something that we got them to do consistently to see these changes. And now we've been helping women all around the world, not just in this facility here, experience the same thing and finally realize that their body isn't damaged and they can see progress as well once they start doing these things. And now I'm here to share these things with you so you can experience this for yourself. Now, before we dive into it, if you are a woman that's been going to the gym consistently, but you're just not seeing your body shape tone up, then what I want you to do is head to the link below where you can download for free my 3 biggest mistakes that women make in the gym. What I'm going to do is send you a series of all these mistakes I see that most women are making and the main reason that's stopping them from toning up despite going to the gym consistently. And then I'll help you understand how you can fix them so you can get past these mistakes. But if you're ready to learn and dive into these 8 tiny habits, then we'll do that right away. The thing that I want to make important and make you aware of though is don't try and implement all 8 of these things in one go. It's going to be too overwhelming. You're not going to be able to do it consistently. What I want you to do is identify maybe the top 2 or 3 things that you're like, do you know what? I can definitely implement that today and stick to it because it seems so easy. Do that first and then over time layer on the other habits. So let's dive into habit number 1. And the first thing that I want you to think about doing is adding protein to your breakfast every single day. I've analyzed hundreds of women's diets and thousands of days of eating from my clients. And the main thing that I see women don't do enough is eat enough protein. A lot of women are still stuck in the myth thinking that 100 grams of a chicken breast is 100 grams of protein. It's not. It's about 25 grams of protein-ish, give or take. So you need to be making sure that you're trying to eat multiple feedings of protein throughout the day. Because women, typically, they eat enough at dinner time. Dinner is where you get all your protein in. But lunches and breakfasts tend to be the ones that tend to be a lot lower. So what I want you to do is start every day with a protein source. Now, what this is gonna do is gonna allow you to feel fuller from the onset. So you're not getting those afternoon cravings. You're not getting that afternoon slump because you've fueled and eaten the right amount of protein in the morning to carry you over throughout the rest of the day. The second habit that I want you to do is try and have 1 meal per day being the same meal every single day, give or take. Now, the reason being is not anything to do with willpower, nothing to do with motivation. It's due to decision fatigue because a lot of women are constantly having so many different thoughts per day. They're having to organize the household, they're having to do things within their job, they're having to be here, there, everywhere. So if you're then thinking about, okay, I've got to make sure everyone else has got their food sorted, and now I need to think about something that fits me and my goals, it's too much to think about and it becomes too chaotic and too hard to think about new recipes all the time. Whereas if you decide to, let's say, have the same breakfast every single day, it's one less thing for you to think about. You know you're going to get enough protein in, you know it's something that you enjoy, and you also know how many calories and protein it is, that the rest of the day becomes easier. Whereas if that meal's changing every single day, then you have to think about, okay, my protein's been lower this morning, but my calories have been higher. That means lunch and dinner I have to have less calories, but more protein. It gets chaotic and it gets confusing. Now, there are some caveats to this and you can make some tweaks. Let's say you used to have overnight oats every day for breakfast, right? You don't have to have the exact same recipe. You could have a carrot cake overnight oats. You could have a chocolate-based overnight oats. Like, you can play around and tweak some of the things and some of the flavorings, but as long as the fundamentals of how many oats you have, how much protein you have, and then you play around with the fruit and stuff, it's just going to be so much easier because it's going to be so close to being exactly the same that you won't have to think about anything else for the rest of the day as much. Okay, briefly moving away from nutrition and into the gym side of stuff. The third habit is log every workout that you do. Every single repetition, every single set, the amount of rest that you take, the exercise that you do, log everything. Because if you're going into the gym every single week and doing something different, or you don't know how many reps you got the previous week or how much weight you lifted exactly, you're never going to be able to progress. And that is the main and most important thing for you to be able to tone up. If you're not making consistent progressions in the gym, getting an extra rep here, lifting an extra 5 kilos there, your body's not going to see any reason to adapt. We have to give it a reason to adapt. And the best way to do that and to foolproof it to ensure that it's definitely going to happen is keeping a log of your workouts and pushing for more and more every single week. The fourth habit, and coming back to your nutrition, is do not save calories for snacks. This is one of the biggest mistakes that I see women making, is that they worry about, oh, I'm probably going to be a little bit peckish tonight, or I'm going to have a sweet craving, I'm going to want something, so I need to save calories for snacks. But you saving calories for snacks is the very thing that's shooting yourself in the foot. Because what you end up doing is saving calories in case you need it, that your meals in the day aren't fulfilling, they aren't satiating. So it's no wonder why after the afternoon comes, you start getting that craving, that sweet tooth cooking in, and you're wanting something to fill the void. It's because you haven't put enough calories to your main meals that you're hungry later on. If you start thinking, okay, I'm gonna spend most of my calories on meals that are gonna fill and stretch my stomach, then any calories that I have left over, I could put that towards a snack if I wanted to. But the thing is, with all the women that I've worked with, once we've stopped okay, stop saving calories for here, let's put more calories into your lunch, more calories into your breakfast, later on in the day, they don't experience hunger. They're not thinking about when's my next meal gonna come, or I've got this sugar craving and I can't control it, because they're already full. They're no longer thinking about food because they've already stretched and filled their stomachs. And this is gonna be something that's gonna make a massive difference in your journey and stop that sugar and sweet tooth craving. Rolling into habit number 5, make sure that you track your calories before you eat them. Because I see a lot of women making this mistake. They're busy, like their lives are constantly in a rush. They're being here, there, everywhere. They've got, again, look after the family, they've got to look after work things, they've got to try and be everywhere at once and think about a million things, right? That they end up forgetting to track their calories and then they go back to do it at the end of the day. But the problem with this is it's too late. By that point, you've already eaten the food. And when you go back to log it later, 1, you've forgotten what you've eaten, but 2, you end up realizing that you've overeaten your calories again because you didn't realize how many calories was in an avocado, let's say. You thought you were being healthy, but realized that actually that was nearly 200 calories for the amount of avocado you had. So when you log your calories in advance, you can see and manipulate your day before it happens. You can type in, I'm gonna have this at lunchtime, this is gonna be the amount of protein that I have, and then you're gonna see that, oh, actually, that's probably not gonna work because for dinner tonight, I've got lasagna, and that's not gonna be enough protein. So now I need to tweak my lunch before I eat it, so I have enough protein and less calories for that meal later on. Because if you didn't do that, you would get to the end of the day, you'd input the stuff and see, shit, I've gone over my calories again. I'll start again tomorrow. We want to break that habit from happening and that chain reaction from happening. So be aware before you eat it, look at the calories and the protein, and then that's going to allow you to more consistently stick to the amount of food that you're going to eat every day. And the benefit of that as well, rolling off what we were talking about in the previous habit, is if you pre-log it, you can work out, okay, I want to save 100, 150 calories for this chocolate bar in the evening because I fancy it. I want to have that in my day. You can do that if you plan it in advance. Okay, habit number 6, and this is one of the hardest things I find convincing women to do, is take progress photos. Now, I know you don't want to take photos at this point because you don't like how you look. You feel unconfident and you don't like your own reflection. I get that, I do. But every client that has pushed back on taking progress photos and said, no, I'm not taking them, has only kicked themselves later down the line because they don't see their body shape changing. They've lost loads of weight, they've built muscle, but now they've got nothing to compare it to because they were too afraid to take it at the start. You're not taking progress photos now because you're proud of your body. We know that. You're taking them because in 6 months' time, you're going to be blown away by the difference that you've made and the difference that you can see when it's side by side. When you're just relying on scales or you're just relying on what you see in the mirror, it doesn't tell you the full story. The scales only tell you if your weight's gone up and down, and that can fluctuate depending on how much carbs you've eaten, how much water's in your body, how much sodium you've had, because there's water fluctuations with that stuff. So you're just basing it off of pure water fluctuations, not necessarily body fat changes. And you're not able to tell if that's muscle on the scales, if that's fat on the scales, if that's water. You're only getting part of the puzzle. And when you're just going off the mirror every day, you don't see the big changes, right? Like, you don't see your hair growing every day when you see it in the mirror. You just know later down the line, like a few months, oh, it's getting a little bit long actually, I should get it cut, right? Not that I know what that feels like anymore, but I used to. So you don't see the differences. Whereas if you take the progress photos and look side by side, you can see that change. I've had so many clients come to me saying like, oh, I'm not seeing any changes in the mirror, like my scales aren't changing. And then I pull up their photos and I'm like, look at the difference. They're blown away because they can see new shape. They can see more shape in their shoulders. They can see muscle they've never seen before, and they can see that their waist looks slimmer. So I know progress photos at this point is hard to take, but I promise if you do it, it makes such a big difference. Another big game changer that women don't think about, and habit number 7, is making sure that you get enough sleep every night. Women massively underestimate recovery. And if you do download, which I will encourage you to do, the 3 biggest mistakes that women make, recovery is one of them. Now I go into a lot more detail than just saying recovery, so make sure you go download it. But recovery is a massive thing. A lot of women think more is better. No, I need to do more exercises. I need to work out more. I need to have less calories. But also they think that they can get by on minimal sleep. But sleep is where your body's recovering. Sleep is where your body builds new muscle. Sleep is where it controls your hormones more, so you're not hungry all the time. So if you're not resting and recovering enough, this is a big impact on how you feel day to day, how hard you can train, and how well you can manage those cravings. Our body's sleep runs on something called a circadian rhythm. And what needs to happen for our body to induce sleep and get a good quality night's sleep is release a hormone called melatonin. If you're going to bed different times every single night, your body doesn't really know when to release this hormone because there's no rhythm for it to release. So you don't get that initial sleep initiated. And then when it comes to waking up, your body needs to release cortisol to get you up for the day and get you ready and raring to go. But if you're not waking up the same time every day, again, it's not really knowing when to release this hormone per se. And then we don't have a good sleep habit. We don't have a good sleep routine. We don't sleep well. We don't recover well. Everything becomes really difficult. So if we can prioritize making sure that we go to bed the same time, wake up same time within 20 minutes, it will make life so much easier for you. And then the final habit, the 8th one, is work out your non-negotiables. I see too many women falling into the pattern of falling off the wagon, that if they don't have everything perfect, it's ruined. I might as well start again on Monday. I've ruined everything now. That's not the way to approach things, because if you do that, you're always going to be on and off the wagon. You're always going to be stopping and starting again. Whereas if from day one you focus on your non-negotiables, the bare minimum that you have to commit to, it could be, I need to make sure I eat 3 feedings of protein per day, that I get to the gym 3 times per week and lift heavy weights, that I make sure that I protect my sleep. If you focus on those ones, and if you have a busy week, if you have a stressful week, a chaotic week, and you can't do everything, as long as you know, okay, as long as I get these 3 things, I'm good to go, and then I can pick things back up again when life becomes less chaotic. You won't fall off the wagon. You won't have to start again. You won't regain the weight that you've lost so far. Because that's the main thing, is making sure that this journey is sustainable for you, that you can adhere to it. And you know, if shit hits the fan, you can maintain these bare minimums and you can feel happy and proud about that. So these are some of the 8 habits that I install into my clients that allow them to finally break the habit of stopping and starting again, not seeing the changes for the amount of effort that they put into the gym. And I promise if you do the same, it will make such a big difference to your journey, and you'll finally be able to stick to it too. So if you haven't done so already, make sure that you decide which of these habits you're going to start with, and then also make sure you head down to that link below, sign up to receive the 3 biggest mistakes that I've put together that women make in the gym, because once you change these 3 mistakes, I promise the gym will feel less like a daunting place to be. You'll feel less anxious, you'll know exactly what to do, and you'll start seeing the results that you want to and the results that you deserve.